behind this, and I want Ruth to talk a bit about that. What inspired you in the first place when you came to St. Paul's to think about doing this show? Yes.
Okay, Michael Gordon. Is Michael Gordon here? Yeah. Hi, Michael. Michael introduced himself to me back in the fall, in November. At that time, no, he had actually contacted me before then. We had been doing Somniatis, the Wearable art show. And this year, last year, we did it at the casino. And Michael had contacted me and said, we've got a great space here at St. Paul's, you should come and check it out. And I didn't do it. And time passed, and we did the show at the casino, and it all went all right. And then Michael was in the CDC office, downtown in November, and I happened to walk in at the same time, and he just grabbed my arm and he said, you know what, you've really got to come and see our space. So we walked over here, and it was a bright sunny day, and I remember walking in the back doors of the sanctuary and looking and thinking, wow, I was totally blown away. I'd never seen a church transformed the way this one happened. But as I stood there, I didn't just see the church. I actually saw in my mind an art exhibit here about the stained glass windows, because I was blown away by the stained glass windows. The light isn't as good today as it was that day when I came in, but they were glowing. The colors were so intense. And you've got a bronze paint around them that really reflects on them beautifully. I was just blown away, and I thought we need to do a project that reinforces these stained glass windows. So that's how it came about.
So, what instruction then? So you wanted to share this vision. What instruction did you give to the artists?
This was a confusing thing because we had never done anything like this before. And I got tired, and so I put the call out to artists, and I said our next project is going to be for St. Paul's, and we're going to celebrate their stained glass windows. And you can interpret those stained glass windows in any medium you like. So it can be in photography, in painting, in sculpture, wearable art, could be anything. So, as usual, the Somniatis artists always respond very positively and say, great, we're in, which happened. Some of them did respond a bit negatively, and if religion isn't their thing, and they don't even want to touch it. So, and that's fine, I respect that too, I understand that. But most of them, there are a lot of people that are challenging their own thoughts on religion right now, what it means, how it impacts them. And so it was a good project for us to delve into how it impacted us individually.
All right, hang on to that, and to pull out this chair. This is Ruth's beautiful piece here, and I want to come back to it. But I want to talk about a bit about how you impacted me in this conversation. Yeah, just sit down for a minute. Look over my shoulder. You can be like the choir. It's been interesting, this whole challenge, because we've come here, and the stained glass is a comfort to me. It's part of what St. Paul's is, and these stories presented here are stories that I'm familiar with. They represent the stories of our faith. My growing up in the United Church, these kind of stained glass windows are throughout the United Church. And yet, when Ruth raised this question and asked it to be seen through kind of a 21st century perspective, it challenged me to think more broadly about what these stained glass windows represent. And indeed, stained glass is one of the first public art forms. Ruth pointed this out to me. It stretches back into the medieval period. And Cynthia Young, in her presentation of Liza Doolittle, she talks about being at St. Paul's in London and about how her as a working class woman, there was very little access to art. And so coming into St. Paul's in London represented an opportunity for the broad populace to see art and to see the beautiful colors and to see the messages portrayed there. And so we've seen different messages over the years as the biblical story and the values are presented there. And I think, when I have traveled in Europe and even going to the Roman Catholic churches, you see a different presentation in the stained glass, don't you? You see often the Stations of the Cross, which represents the journey of Jesus in the last week of his life towards the Passion. And so it presents a different theology of the intensity of our faith represented in those final moments, and what it means to suffer, and what it means to be called to that reality in a broken world, crucifixion, and how we seek resurrection. And when you look at our stained glass and the kind of representation here, it's a different presentation. And I was thinking it was early 20th century, but Karen Hilfman-Nilsson was saying to me yesterday that most of these stained glass came in the 50s and 60s, and maybe a number of you remember them being dedicated. And so it represents a time and a slice of history in the 50s and 60s, and post-war kind of us feeling good about economic development, about the world around us. And so we, as liberal Protestants, emphasize more the compassion of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, sowing of the seeds, healing, baptism. They represent an image of Jesus' ministry that lifts us up into a sense of how we can be compassionate for the world and how we're called into that kind of representation. And it's also interesting when you think about it in that social context, it's kind of Northern European images of Jesus, isn't it? And the disciples. Through a modern lens, when we think about what Jesus would historically have looked like, he would have been about a 4-foot tall Jewish man, about 90 pounds, probably with dark skin. So if we were doing stained glass windows these days, would we represent Jesus as a Jew from the first century? That's an interesting question. And so it was interesting to me then to be in context with the artists as they have explored these themes in the last few days and brought it to light, and so appreciate of them are here with us, and I wish I could work with each of their pieces. It was a very moving time of hearing the background and the description and what brought them into this conversation. For instance, Tammy and Ron, in presenting this crucifix, they are people of faith who find through the crucifix an anchor of faith that enables them to get through times of suffering and hurt. Jesus' suffering helps them through their process of grieving. On the other hand, Terry, who did the street photography, he took the crucifixion as the crucifixion of the world, and where is the Prince of Peace? Has the Prince of Peace abandoned us in this day and age? Tasha questioned where is the church? Where is the church for her in her piece? And I think many of us, this kind of group of 7 image, would understand this kind of image of finding God in the contemplation and the appreciation of nature. Wendy's piece invites us into the journey of opening doors. What does this mean? How are we invited to understand love as we journey through life. Anita's piece comes off of the Ascension window. It carried her and represents a time in her life when she was diagnosed with a brain tumor and told she had 2 days to live. What does that mean through that window of looking at the world through that lens of death? How do we look at life? And that's represented in her representation here. I could go on, continue to explain it, and I feel I want to do justice to each of you, but we only have so much time to explore it. But I did want to offer Ruth and some of our in-house team to have an opportunity to talk about it. So, Ruth, can you invite us into your piece of it?
Andrea, could you come up? Andrea was my reader. My piece was a little personal, and it's hard to read things that are personal. So I'll let her read it for you, and I'll show it to you as she's reading.
If love was our currency, yes, please. Like food, we all have best before dates imprinted on our bodies. Each person is different, based upon how well we have taken care of ourselves or not. Whether we have any chronic diseases, addictions, accidents, or whatever else befalls us. I have a chronic disease called ankylosing spondylitis. Try saying that after a few drinks. It is trying to cut short my best before date. In the last year, both hips were replaced with titanium joints. I am now a cyborg. It started when I was in university, but I only got diagnosed when I was 32 years old, after the damage had already begun. It has been my constant companion, one which challenges me on a daily basis. I see personal challenges as an opportunity. They allow us to reevaluate all that we hold to be true, important, or real. I decided to approach this project by finding a piece of furniture that would represent my body. I needed to find an antique that was made of solid wood, oak preferably. It had to have been useful and attractive at some point in time. I wanted to take a piece of furniture that had passed its best before date, and I wanted to give it a new life, much the way modern medicine is giving me a new life. It's not the same, it's a little quirky, but it is all good. The stained glass windows of St. Paul's are spectacular, and I wanted to recreate the look of stained glass, but without the traditional glass and lead soda. I wanted my piece to be organic and electric, as is my body. Do you know what orgonite is? The back of my cabinet is orgonite, a 50-50 mix of resin and metal shavings with quartz crystals and gold leaf. It is an energy generator, and so am I. As I look at the windows of St. Paul's, I noticed that many of them were donated by families in honour of a loved one. Stained glass was an expensive form of art, and the people buying these windows must have spent a lot of money on them. Time is more valuable than money, yet we give money more value than time. Money. It can be the root of all evil. It can benefit us and also lead us down paths we should not go. Much of my self-worth in my younger life was too focused on money. How much did I earn? Am I living up to my potential? Do I spend it wisely? What messages does how I spend my money send to others? Yet, the real value of your wealth is how much you would be worth if you lost all of your money. If love were our currency instead of money, would you be rich or poor? Would you hoard it or share it equally with everyone? Would we give or want credit for it? We are all born with love. We all have it within us to give and to share. If there were more love and cohesion in this world, we could conquer hate and division. If love were our currency.
Each of the performances and presentations were profound in a kind of way, and our own in-house family who often present in music and song, and their lovely presence. And so Starla has created a piece, and I wanted to ask you about it, Starla. I'll take that. So where is your piece? Where is... Yep, on the gap, okay. Got that beautiful piece. So tell us about it. What inspired you to create this piece?
I was inspired by the colors in the stained glass windows, as you can see, and all the little lights underneath represent people letting out their inner light. I was mainly inspired by the crucifixion scene where Jesus was hung on the cross, because he was hung there because what he believed in, which was love, peace, and he believed in it so strongly that he would even result in death. I choose to let my own light shine, and I wanted everyone to see that they could let theirs too.
Thank you, that's wonderful. And how did you come to do this? Tell us about what's involved in making such a beautiful piece. What did you had to
It's all made of tissue paper, and it took a month to make, starting beginning of May.
So you'll have to come up and see this. It's absolutely incredible, all of the work that went into it, and the family dynamics of everybody working on gluing this all together. It was wonderful. And why did you present it as the world?
Well, I wanted to show that everyone can let their light shine, no matter who you are, and no matter what you believe in and what you look like. Everyone has love.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. And so, as part of the presentation, both Beth sang and so Winnie did a reading for us, and I'd love to have Winnie come up and do that as a way to conclude this time. Get the microphone stand.
Go on up, honey.
Such a talented group of people. Wow. Yes. Okay.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be want to be. You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so other people don't feel insecure around you.
We are all.
We are all going to shine as children do. We are supposed to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So,
As we
as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So it's holy work to move past your own fear. It doesn't just help you, it helps the world.
Wonderful. What's it like wearing this on?
It's not heavy, it's just very awkward.
It's just very hard. Yes. You look tremendous, and thank you for modeling this. And thank you, Starla, for creating this, being part of this genius. We are blessed in so many ways by the artists in this community who provoke us to think of how we interpret this good news in this day and age, how it challenges us on this Pentecost. So let us revel in the artistic genius, in the creativity, and in the mission and purpose of all of our calling to be God's people. Amen.